Jax's workshop was a chaotic orchestra of scavenged technology and bespoke computing rigs. He elucidated the terrifying brilliance of Thuron's ambition. It wasn't merely about amassing the most quanta. It was about controlling the very definition of value, rewriting the fundamental rules of economic reality. Pointing to a complex holographic projection of the ledger, Jax detailed how it was maintained by millions of independent validator nodes. Thuron had been aggressively acquiring them, but couldn't achieve a true 51% majority without bankrupting his entire syndicate. Anya's locket, however, was no mere key. It was a shard of the original cryptographic signature that authenticated the Genesis block itself. With it, during the entanglement event's recalibration window, Thuron wouldn't require a majority of nodes. He could issue a root-level directive, essentially declaring to the entire network that he was the new ultimate authority, granting him the power to freeze accounts, reverse transactions, even mint limitless quanta for himself, thereby hyperinflating the currency into utter worthlessness for everyone else. Anya asked if Thuron needed her fragment to complete the Satoshi Prime. Jax clarified Thuron needed sufficient fragments to reconstruct a master administrative key. Legends spoke of 9, each unlocking a different stratum of the core protocol. Her locket, from a direct Sentinel lineage, was likely linked to the transaction validation and temporal sequencing authority, which was absolutely critical. He wondered how many Thuron already had. Anya confessed she didn't know, only that Kai was attempting to contact other Sentinels. Just then, an alarm blared on one of Jax's monitors. A Chronos Syndicate dreadnought had just dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Ceres deeps. Jax swore, realizing they must have traced her courier's energy signature, or, even worse, possessed another fragment allowing them to monitor ledger activity associated with other prime pieces. They had to get off the asteroid. He mentioned his ship, the Quantaleap, not elegant, but incredibly fast and full of illegal modifications. They raced to a concealed hangar, Chronos Syndicate drones already swarming the asteroid's docking arrays. The Quantaleap was a heavily modified freighter, bristling with jury-rigged weaponry and oversized engines. As they blasted out of the asteroid, weaving through a storm of laser fire, Anya realized this was no longer just about safeguarding a legacy. It was about fighting for the very concept of a free, open system, the dream the first coders had embedded into the first block of the quantum-conquered ledger. In the Quantaleap's cockpit, Jax wrestled the controls while Anya scanned for threats and calculated jump vectors. Jax figured Thuron wouldn't remain idle, knowing they posed a threat, and would move swiftly to secure any other prime fragments. They needed to reach the other Sentinels first, or at least ascertain what they knew. Kai had a list encrypted, but the decryption key was a passphrase only another Sentinel would recognize. Anya recalled the verse of the Genesis Dawn, taught to her by her grandmother. Jax, raising a cybernetic eyebrow, acknowledged the efficacy of ancient wisdom and set course, remarking the entanglement event was T-11 cycles, and the cosmic clock was ticking with alarming speed. Aboard Thuron Kale's flagship, the Epic Sentinel, the atmosphere was one of cold, calculated efficiency. Commander Lyra, Thuron's new head of security, stood before him. Her uniform was immaculate, her gaze unwavering, a stark contrast to the more flamboyant Kale. She reported the fugitives had escaped the Ceres deeps, their vessel faster than anticipated, but they had tagged its quantum resonance signature, so they couldn't remain hidden for long. She also informed him she had initiated Operation Golden Vector. Kale, a thin smile playing on his lips, inquired about this initiative to persuade other known associates of the Sentinels. Lyra detailed they had identified 3 potential active Sentinels from fragmented intelligence. One on the volcanic moon of Ignis IV, another in the deep space trading hub of Port Infinity, and a third surprisingly close, in the orbital archives of Cygnus Major. Her teams were en route, and she anticipated acquiring at least 2 more fragments before the entanglement event. Kale deemed this excellent, stating that with 3, perhaps even 2 fragments, combined with Anya Sharma's, the Satoshi Prime would be sufficiently complete to exploit the entanglement window. He ordered Sharma to be taken alive, as her fragment was unique, connected to the core validation protocols, according to his chronotechnicians. Lyra assured him she would be, and the ledger would be his. Lyra was the iron fist to Kale's velvet glove of corporate rhetoric, believing in order through strength and seeing the decentralized ledger as an affront to that order. Days bled into weeks as Anya and Jax navigated perilous routes, staying one jump ahead of Chrono's syndicate patrols. Anya successfully decrypted Kai's list using the verse. It contained coordinates for 3 other potential sentinels, Ignis IV, Port Infinity, and Cygnus Major. They had to warn them. Jax noted Ignis IV was closest, but a veritable hellscape, volcanically active, atmospherically unstable, and infested with predatory silicon-based life forms. He questioned why a sentinel would choose such a place. Anya pointed to a note on the list, Guardian of the Nova-forged Sigil. Sigils, unique cryptographic markers used in block creation, made her wonder if this fragment was tied to proof-of-stake generation. Jax conceded it was possible. If Kale obtained a fragment controlling sigil generation, he could subtly influence transaction validation or even stall the entire network. They decided on Ignis IV, planning to make a covert approach. The Quantaleap landed precariously on a small, obsidian plateau on Ignis IV amidst lava rivers and ash plumes. The air was thick with sulfur and metallic tangs. Jax and Anya, clad in heavy envirosuits, disembarked. Ignis IV was even more hostile than Jax had described. The Sentinel, an ancient cyberneticist named Borin, lived in a geothermal-powered cavern deep beneath the volcanic crust. They found him just as Commander Lyra's elite shock troops were breaching his final defenses. A fierce firefight erupted. Borin, despite his advanced age, fought with surprising ferocity, his custom-built defense drones holding back Lyra's soldiers for precious minutes. He managed to thrust a small, heat-scarred data crystal into Anya's hand, urging her to take it, explaining it was attuned to the ledger's adaptive difficulty algorithm, and not to let Kale get it before he was struck down by a concentrated plasma burst. Jax grabbed Anya, pulling her towards a lava tube escape tunnel as Lyra herself entered the cavern, her sidearm smoking. Lyra, into her comms, ordered her troops to secure the Sentinel's primary fragment and prioritize the girl's capture as the secondary was with her. As they fled, Jax lamented that Kale got Borin's main fragment, but asked about the attuned crystal Anya now possessed. Anya believed it was a countermeasure, a way to broadcast a forced recalibration of the mining difficulty if someone tried to manipulate it. They barely made it back to the Quantaleap, Lyra's forces hot on their heels. The escape from Ignis IV was a desperate, terrifyingly close-run thing. Back in the Quantaleap, Jax surmised Kale now had Borin's fragment, giving him at least one, maybe more if his other teams were successful. He acknowledged Lyra was formidable, exceedingly so. Anya insisted they had to get to Port Infinity. The Sentinel there, Elder Kai had said, was a conduit of the Memflow. Jax identified the Memflow as the dynamic holding area for unconfirmed transactions. If Kale could control that, he could censor transactions, prioritize his own, effectively causing digital gridlock and chaos. But Port Infinity was a major Chronos syndicate stronghold, akin to walking directly into the serpent's nest. Anya felt they had no alternative. The entanglement event was only 3 cycles away. If they could secure that fragment and combine its knowledge with her locket and Borin's countermeasure, perhaps they could construct a viable defense. Port Infinity was a dizzying superstructure of orbital platforms, zero-G bazaars, and clandestine data havens. The Sentinel, a woman named Saris, operated a seemingly legitimate rare isotope brokerage. Her true work was monitoring the ebb and flow of the galactic Memflow, searching for anomalies, for telltale signs of manipulation. Saris, elegant and composed, surrounded by holographic displays depicting intricate network traffic, greeted Anya and Jax with a knowing smile. She had been expecting them, or someone like them, remarking the ledger was unusually agitated, and Thuron Kale was making audacious moves, his attempts to influence transaction ordering becoming more aggressive as he tested the network's resilience. Her fragment, she explained, touching a delicate filament bracelet, allowed one to perceive the shadow stream transactions being deliberately suppressed or artificially delayed. Jax asked if Kale was already probing the network's vulnerabilities. Saris confirmed this, adding that Commander Lyra's agents were already present, having made a clumsy attempt to access her systems that morning, and would undoubtedly return with greater force. Her fragment, she continued, didn't just monitor. It could inject prioritized data packets, a sort of emergency broadcast to all validator nodes.